If you are looking to buy any Ultimate Team coins for FIFA 23, you can check out u4gm.com as a reliable place to do so, and you can use code ELITE at checkout for 5% off your order. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video on my channel. My name is Sean, aka Elite, and today we're talking about the Path to Glory Team 2, as well as a market rise that we're expecting over the course of the next couple of days that you guys can get in on some cards, make yourself some profit. I'm going to be showing you all of that in today's video, but before we get started, do not forget to drop a like on the video. Let's shoot for 350 likes, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, of course. So we'll start with what you guys came here for. That's Path to Glory Team number 2. And I've got a list of cards that we already know of. And we also have some information from last week. We know that we're expecting 32 Path to Glory cards. And when we heard that, I thought we're going to get one from each country. That did not end up being the case because we're already seeing 2 from certain nations. And I guess that makes sense because how many people are going to pick up a Path to Glory player from Qatar? Well, when there aren't even any Qatar players in the game before this week when they actually added those World Cup Qatar players. So we are missing a couple countries. A couple countries have 2 players like France and Belgium. You'll see those here in a second. But let's start off with these first cards. Marco Reus, 89 rated to start with Germany here. Of course, Marco Reus, with his injury, is not going to the World Cup, which is devastating because as a Dortmund fan, I have wanted to see him at the world stage. And of course, we got to see it a little bit in 2018, but they did get grouped. Germany did not do too well. And in 2014, he was hurt when they ended up winning the World Cup. And he's missing out on another tournament, which sucks. But his card looks very good. 80 pace, 88 shooting, 89 dribbling, and 88 passing. And of course, if they get out of the group stage, that goes up to 90 rated, and it could go beyond. Milinkovic-Savic is getting one for Serbia, and he's starting at 89 rated as well. And what we saw with some of these higher rateds from Path to Glory Team 1, like Bernardo Silva, very expensive, very rare, and I think they could do very well out of packs because they've just been packed so much less than the cards that are like 85 and 86 rated. Next, we've got probably the most expensive of the bunch, Nkunku. 88 rated to start, and if you've used his 86 in this game, you know it's a pretty good card. Getting that upgrade is already going to add value. Even if France get grouped, that's going to be a very, very expensive card. But of course, France are one of the favorites to go very far in the tournament, so that card could end up being one of the best, if not the best card in the game by the end of this tournament. So Nkunku is looking very, very good. Kind of reminds me of this week's Vinicius Jr. I think that's going to be that marquee player that's super expensive. We already saw Berghaus come in Team 1, and we've got Carrasco and Bruno Guimaraes for Team number 2. Now, one thing that we have to note is the fact that we've already seen 20 Path to Glory cards out, whether it be in packs, SBC, or objectives. We've seen 20 of them. And we are expecting 32, which means Team 2 isn't going to be as many players as Team 1. Unless EA do something to surprise us, because the math just ain't mathin' right now. We're only going to have 12 players left to hit 32 players, and that doesn't make sense. Why would they drop 20 in week 1 and then 12 in week 2? I don't know why they're going ahead and doing that, but Carrasco and Bruno Guimaraes, of course, we've already seen Lukaku and we've already seen Vinicius Jr., so both those nations are going to have 2 Path to Glory cards. Then we scroll down and we've got some more pretty cool cards. Kyle Walker from England, and honestly, I can't think that I don't think they could have chosen a better card right there for England's Path to Glory, because Kyle Walker in this game is so good. I packed him in the first week untradeable. I've used him in my squad ever since. I haven't replaced him. That will be a nice replacement if that's affordable, but we know it's going to be pretty expensive. And then we've got Christian Pulisic, the LeBron James of soccer, might I add, 87 rated. He's got great pace, great dribbling. Of course, he's probably going to have 4-star. His shooting and passing a little bit low. Of course, passing not as important. Shooting at only 80, you would want a couple upgrades, but he's going to get the job done early on, even if he doesn't end up getting an upgrade. But hopefully, for my sake, he gets an upgrade because, of course, I am a USA fan. So next up, we've got Irving Lozano from Mexico, and he is a pace demon, 97 pace, 88 dribbling. I already can tell that's going to be a very annoying card to play against. That is not going to be a fun one to play against, especially if he gets an upgrade all the way to like 99 pace. And those are the only leaks we have so far. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 of them so far, so we're missing 4 more. We don't know who they're going to be quite yet. There's probably going to be a couple leaks that come out over the course of the next couple of days, and I'll update you guys every single day on new things that we do end up finding. Next thing I want to talk about is the fact that normally we see a little bit of a market rise post-weekend league because people obviously are done opening their packs and that supply wipes away. And then on top of that, we see the informs from the current team of the week rise. On top of that, we often see upgrade packs. That's the time last week when the hero pack actually ended up coming out. So a lot of times they do drop upgrade packs, whether it's team of the week and stuff like that. So all of that could end up coming today, but the thing I want to focus on first is that market rise. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a recovery on just about everything over the course of the next 24 hours, unless they drop something absolutely crazy at content time. And that's probably when I'm going to wait to start buying. And although I know I'm going to sacrifice some deals for that, I also eliminate all of the risk in my investments because then I don't have to worry about what's coming when they do end up dropping content. So Teo Hernandez is already up a few thousand coins. He was at his lowest point at about 160. So if you invested there, you're already covering your tax. And I wish I would have gotten in at 160. And hopefully he does get down back to somewhere near there this morning so I can get in on him because I still got all my coins liquid and I want to be invested right now in inform cards. And I like this card the best. I've mentioned him a couple of times and I think he has fought against the big drop that we saw on Friday, the best of all the informs. Diaby went from 70K to 18K. And we saw Bremer go from like 29K to 12K. Hernandez went from 220 to 160, which is a big drop, but nothing in comparison to what we saw with the other informs. That shows he has demand, very much demand. And as this card rises out of packs, I think people who are completing the Rafael layout Player of the Month are going to also contribute to that. But this is not the only inform that's going to do well out of packs. In fact, I don't think Diaby's a bad investment either. It's just so low at this point that it's hard to say no to. At 19,000 coins, you really are getting a good deal for a card that's French, 86 rated, in a top 5 league, has 95 pace and 89 dribbling. I think a lot of people might be scared away from the 76 shooting and the 3-star weak foot, but believe me, a card that looks like this is going to be on a lot of people's super subs, and I think it's going to be a very annoying card to play against as people start picking them up and using them, and people have gotten him from the red picks, of course. I actually packed him as one of my red picks, so a lot of people are going to be using him, and I think that if he does shine in those matches, his card will go up. Now, what we did see earlier this year, though, from a kind of similar card, I guess it's not exactly similar, but was Timo Werner's inform. This card was 84 rated and it had pretty good stats. Of course, he's in a top 5 league and he's German, which isn't quite as good links as France, but still very, very good. 3-star, 4-star. Diaby has 4-star, 3-star, and he's got pretty solid stats all around, and we kind of expected him to do decent out of packs, and he did terribly. So there are certain situations where it just doesn't end up working out quite as well. So we'll keep an eye on Diaby, and it really just comes down to, is that card going to be meta in game? Is it going to keep up with the power curve, or is that 76 shooting just not going to be enough to hold value for Diaby? But on top of that, he is 86 rated. Werner's 84. And that does make a big difference because 86 rated, 1, has less supply, and 2, can actually be used as SBC fodder as kind of like a safety net. You're not risking as much because even if he does not work as a meta card investment, you're still probably not losing a lot because 86 rated informs are going for at least 15, 16K right now as it is. And speaking of fodder, that's what we're going to transition into talking about next. So fodder cards have moved today a little bit, and we did touch on this yesterday. We talked about 88s going up. We talked about 90s going up. And if you guys missed yesterday's video, it's all about how to double your coins this week with low budget investments. I need you guys to go check that out for sure, because there's a lot of low budget investments. I'm not going to cover them into this video. You got to go watch yesterday's video if you want to see those. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description for that. But 88s, they went up a little bit today, and then they kind of went back down. 89s went up, they didn't come back down, and 90s, even Lewandowski, if you take a look at him, 91 rated cards, they did really, really well, and it's to be expected. The reason for this is the new Robbie Keane SBC came out, and that SBC kind of is debated on whether it's good value or bad value, because it is 800K. The card is disgusting though. I mean, you could argue it would be like 800K on the market, because Forlan is kind of a similar card and he's about 800K on the market, but 75% of the community says, nah, too expensive. 25% said, that's a decent deal. And I think 25% is a lot of upvotes for a card that's 800K. And it's shown, because that Lewandowski card has gone from, let's see, yesterday's graph, 41,000 coins, and then rose all the way to 51,000 coins. So he rose 10,000 coins, a big 20% boost on his card value. And that's pretty big for one day on a 91 rated SBC fodder card. So we definitely have seen some movement already on certain cards, but most of it's on those expensive cards. We still see a little bit of value on those 86s because of other SBCs that have come out, like the base hero SBC or Rafael Leao. So those cards are still up a little bit, but the 85s are pretty low still. They're at about 7.8, so they've gone up about 500, 600 coins today, but nothing crazy. 84s are still 2,000 coins. We've seen those go from 2K to 4K a lot in the last couple of weeks. Even if it's just temporarily, you can pick up 100 of those, and for 2K. That's a 200K investment. Sell them all for, even if they go to 3.5, that's 150K profit on those cards. It's a really low risk investment. I can't see 84s going much lower than 2K. I mean, there's just too much SBC content that already exists that would keep that card value up at least a little bit. And to be honest, we're not expecting a huge amount of supply coming anytime soon. Of course, EA are going to drop those daily SBCs, and they're going to drop things here and there like marquee matchups and whatever. And Tuesdays, sometimes they drop an SBC that's tradable, but it's nothing going to be crazy like what we saw on Friday. So it's really not a huge risk on picking up some of these SBC fodder cards. In fact, 87s still look good to me. In fact, these cards went from 15.5 all the way to 18K at some point today, and they dropped all the way back down to 16. So there's another chance to get in on those. You've got people still completing that Robbie Keane throughout the week. They're going to continue to pick up cards, maybe not at the rate as right when it comes out, but it still will be evident on these card prices. And if they do drop an upgrade SBC today that we talked about earlier that ends up being good value, I think the 87 rated cards could do very, very well, because that's kind of in the range of what we're expecting from maybe a icon SBC, a base icon SBC, which we still haven't seen entered into the game yet. And I know we've been talking about that a lot, speculating about that a lot. I've mentioned it in every other video, but the truth is, I mean, how much longer are we going to have to wait for it? Because the prime icons drop in December, and they're not going to wait until the prime icons drop to drop the base icon SBC. It would have to come out beforehand. So even if it's not today, it's got to be sometime in the next 2 weeks, because they're not going to wait until the prime icons come out, because then people aren't going to want to do the base icon SBC, because they're irrelevant at that point and they're more excited for the new cards. So that's kind of why they dropped that hero SBC last week, in my opinion, which we did end up doing today. And I'll tell you what, my luck on these upgrades are terrible, because I got Solskjaer today. I'm not happy about it, because I spent all my fodder on that. I saved up my fodder because I had no fodder. I saved it up just for Solskjaer, which was worth less on the market if it was tradable than like 2 cards of fodder. My pack luck is bad. EA, I need you to fix it. I need you to fix it. It's like, it was funny at first, but it's been 3 weeks of just garbage. Even all of my FUT Champ rewards. My best card was Parejo. It was Parejo, 86 rated. I used him on the base the base hero that gave me Solskjaer. EA, I need something, man. I need something. Now, I know earlier I said I wouldn't talk about any of the low-budget trading methods, but I wanted to expand a little bit on what we talked about in yesterday's video because FIFA 23 Chem Expert, he tagged me in this today. He said that he put together a spreadsheet based on what we had mentioned in yesterday's video on how many cards each nation actually has in the game that are gold cards. So this is based on the daily SBCs we've seen. We've already seen FIFA World Cup Challenge Qatar. We've already seen FIFA World Cup Challenge Ecuador. And that's what kind of gave us the idea because the Ecuador players went from 400 coins or whatever all the way to 3K. All the way to 2.5K. They're still chilling at about 1.5 thousand coins even 2 days later, which leads me to believe they're going to continue doing this for each team, probably starting with Group A, continuing with Netherlands and Senegal, moving on to Group B with Iran, USA, Wales, and England, and moving on and moving on and moving on. But here are all the countries that could potentially have the biggest rise in price on those cards because they don't have a lot of gold cards. And we know that bronzes and silvers are so much more rare. Now, we mentioned Saudi Arabia and we mentioned Iran because Iran is in Group B. Iran only has 2 gold cards, which is Azmoun and Taremi. Yahanbach isn't even a gold card this year, so he's a silver. And then Costa Rica only has 1 gold common card, which is crazy. And of course, they have Keylor Navas, but that's not a card that you're going to submit into an SBC, so you don't want to count that. Tunisia has only 3 gold common cards. Saudi Arabia has 1 gold rare and 1 gold common. Australia just has 4 gold commons. Iran, 2 and 0. South Korea, 1 and 3, and so on and so forth. And you can see as we get to some of the more popular countries, and we don't even have like Brazil on this list or France on this list because let's be honest, there are hundreds of gold cards. There's no point in even counting those. But we can see there's a lot of countries that you could go out and just club stock these guys. And it doesn't just have to be gold. You can club stock silvers and bronzes as well while they're cheap. This is going to be free coins for us moving forward. So go ahead and pick those up. And even if you're not sending them to the transfer list or picking up 100 or picking up 1,000, throw them in your club at the very least. Go out, check on those Iran players. Let's see what their price is right now. And I'll pick them up if they're discard price right now. Simple as that. So if they're 800 coins or less, that's what I'm going to grab is a couple of those cards. So Azmoun and Taremi are pretty cheap right now. They're 750. There we go. I'll grab you and I'll grab you as well. And of course, you can bid on these cards, probably get them for discard price. I already have both of them, I guess. So I'll send them the transfer list instead. But you can do that for Iran. You can do that for Costa Rica. I can go ahead and check what Costa Rican player we're actually looking for here. Costa Rica at the price of... Ooh, what is his card actually? We know we got Keylor Navas. There aren't any gold cards other than Navas, which means that these silvers and bronzes could do very, very well. Oh, Costa Rica is already very expensive because people are needing them for their teams. So that's not going to be on the table because they're already super juiced up in price. Let's take a look instead at Saudi Arabia. Anyways, that SBC could come a little bit sooner anyway. Let's see what the price of these guys are, and that is a lot more reasonable. Let's see what the cheapest one for gold is. We've got Al Dasawi and Al Faraj. So those two are decent investments. Let's see what we can get those for. Al Faraj for 500. Go ahead and send him to the club. He'll be 3K in due time. All right, so we'll grab him, and then we'll grab Al Dassari. And do you guys think he's going to do decent in the World Cup? He's obviously Saudi Arabia's strongest player for sure. Some people claim he's the best player in Asia, but they forget Heung-Min Son exists. That's for sure. But he definitely is a very talented player, and we'll go ahead and throw him into the club as an investment as well. Simple as that. You can go through all the countries and do that. You can grab bronzes and silvers as well. And that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out yesterday's video if you haven't yet. And if you made it to the end of today's video, do not forget to drop a like on the video and comment down below the secret comment of the day. which is Dasari. Al Dasari or just Dasari. That's going to be the secret comment of today. And yeah, that's it, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace out.